everybody, and welcome to episode 9. Get all choked up over 99 of the OG Technically Trek 1 week to the big 100. It's crazy that we've been doing this long. How you been doing, Katie? Because it's been a couple weeks since we've seen your beautiful face.
Oh, thank you. I've missed you guys so much, and I do apologize for my absence. First, I wasn't well, then I was out of town. And yeah, so it's honestly, it's been a bit of a roller coaster the last few weeks, but I'm
Oh,
fully caught up with Starfleet Academy. I am absolutely loving it, and I'm so happy to be back with you guys.
oh, we're glad to have you back as well because I mean you've been with us since the beginning. Travis backstage, he's been with us since the beginning. Zach's been here since the beginning. There's so many people. I'm probably gonna have to give a laundry list of thank yous once we get that episode next week because this week's episode was a bit of a dark episode, and say it low
Yeah.
low key. I not thinking about it. I unfortunately didn't get to watch it to be able to partake in some of the other podcasts because they do it like that evening. It's like that doesn't give me a lot of time to watch the episode because life gets in the
Yeah.
way. Managing a sober house, going to AA meetings, doing this, doing that, being pulled in six different directions. It can be a bitch sometimes. Say, but this last week I
Yeah,
just
I get that.
couldn't do it. I watched it before I went to bed Thursday night, and it gave me freaking nightmares. I don't
Really? I
like,
found
yeah,
it. You see, I love the dark and spooky episodes. I mean, if I slept, I would sleep like a baby. But no, even though it was, it pulled at the heartstrings a little bit. I really, really enjoy it. I mean, I've been enjoying Starfleet Academy since it started, and I've had to really bite my tongue with some people on social media um, for hating on it. Um, but I'm really enjoying it. And this episode, even though it was a little bit dark and a little bit spooky, I loved it. I really did, and
well,
I'm very excited.
I enjoyed it too because now it's like literally the teeth are being sunk in
Yeah.
like a hungry moopsie. Should
No, them moves
I should have had the audio clip ready for that, but I just thought of that off the top of my frond. So
Noopsie. There you go. I've done it
yes,
for you.
but yeah, say this was a doozy. But we already got close to 2 dozen people watching live, so thank you guys. Be sure to click that like and subscribe button below on the Dave Prime 1701 YouTube channel. Then that way you're up to date saying, hey, the show's about to start. One thing that this show makes it better than some of the others is we welcome live participation. It's because anyone can do the YouTube chat. We actually
Yes.
welcome you to pop in on audio, on camera, just saying, hey, get some of your thoughts, some of your feedback, kind of if you agree or disagree with us. We want to hear from you. So yeah, definitely do that. But if by some chance you're not able to partake live on Wednesdays, I am still working on getting all the past episodes uploaded on Spotify so you can take us on the go wherever you're at. Of course, you can always listen to old episodes on YouTube. And we're getting on all the other socials. We're on Instagram and on Threads and YouTube, of course, at the Dave Prime 1701, Techno Dave, and Technically Trek on the Twitter slash X. Let's say it's always going to be Twitter for me. It's going to be
Same.
it's
I
going to
mean,
be
it's still got twitter.com as
yeah,
the official website. So,
but it redirects
it's
to
still
x.com. But
yeah, well,
but
it can piss off. It'll always be Twitter to me.
but
You see, I think the reason why it'll always be Twitter to me, hey
mm,
Brittany, mwah. You see, I think why it'll always be Twitter to me is because Twitter is where everything started for us.
yeah,
And
and
it was the birthplace of dangerous
right
thoughts.
back.
It was the birthplace of what
GTX or
this
innings.
well, yeah, and we started off as just a tiny Twitter space, and and then we morphed into technically Trek, and then we went like, then now we're doing this, and we're nearly at the big 100. We're nearly in triple digits. So
Yeah, see,
that's why it'll always be Twitter to me, because it holds a lot of good memories, and all those nights when we'd like just create a random space just for us all to chill and catch up and have a natter, and so yeah, it'll always be Twitter to me.
same. That's why I was just Twitter/X, because who knows when the time comes when Elon Musk decides to sell it, maybe we can just get it back to just regular old Twitter again. I'm just
Yay!
really sorry,
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
yeah, same. I'm planning for the future. Say there might be 1 week in April that either A, we're just going to skip the episode altogether, or we might do a pre-recorded thing so we have a placeholder in there. Because let's say this lump that I've got on my lip, I'm going getting knocked out and they're going to lop it off. So I might not be of sound mind when it
Yeah, well,
comes. Yeah, because they're going to give me anesthesia, so I'm going to be completely knocked out for it. So
yeah, that I think it depending on when you have the procedure done, I think
first
it
thing in
would
the
be
morning,
best that we have. No, I mean like what day or whatever, it.
Wednesday.
Oh, then definitely we'd have to have something pre-recorded. I mean, at some point during the year, possibly. I mean, I find out on March 18 if I need an operation or not on my ankle. So if I do, later on in the year, if I can postpone it to October, because I'm due to go away for a weekend with some friends in September, and I don't want to miss that. So
Yeah.
But even if I do have the operation, depending on when I actually have it, and if I do have to have an op, hopefully, fingers crossed, I won't. But if I do, I'm just going to be moving my PC back to my bed, and I will do the show from my bed if I have to. Maybe not that first week, because I'll be all like drugged up and stuff. But
well, that's in the future. We don't need to really worry about the future. We need to worry about the now. And say that this week's episode, I've got to grab my notes because I dropped it on the floor. See, I got some pretty decent notes going on here, but for the here and now, we're gonna bring Travis on. How's it going, man?
Yeah.
And
Hello,
you're muted.
everybody.
Not anymore.
I know that. I'm good. Yeah, everything's going pretty good. Just glad that we are here. I should say, not just half the East Coast, but like all the way up to Canada, where Phil is in the Toronto area and stuff. We've been having some crazy wild weather in the last 3 weeks and stuff, especially with the winter weather and stuff. But right now, it's cooperating with the most southern states and stuff, and up this way where me and Zach, well, we're set close to the Ohio River. I'm sitting more close to the Ohio River than he is. But we are actually having some spring-like weather for the time being. But the weekend, Old Man Winter's we're gonna feel his fury again over the weekend and stuff. So I'm not looking for that, but I understand spring is just around the corner and stuff, and we just gotta make do until then. But I'm just glad to see all the snow and ice gone.
Yeah, well, we could use some snow and ice here because it just been so dry. I don't know if either of you heard about it, but there's a 30-car pileup south of the
See, Phil?
Springs here where unfortunately 4 people died from the accident because I've seen news video of it. It's not a pretty sight. And but yeah, Phil's just saying it just had an ice storm out there. So Mother Nature is weird, but we had 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts here just in Colorado Springs yesterday at the airport. So that's just been, yeah, driving could just feel the wind just bopping me around.
That is one type of weather that I won't even attempt to go out. And if I've got appointments, coffee afternoons with friends, if it's blowing a gale outside, I will not go out. I've had bad experiences with that in the past. And yeah, that's just one weather system that I do not get along with. I mean, rain, fine. Cold, even better. But I'm not too keen on ice neither, but I do love snow.
I love snow when it's not a lot, but
West Coast is getting hit with snow, but yep.
We're here to talk about Star Trek. We're here to talk about Come Let's Away, which I learned about this afternoon, that this is one of 2 episodes out of all of Star Trek that actually lifted the title of the episode from King Lear. Saying so, like, Come Let's Away to prison. It's one of the, I forget which act it was from, but then there was an animated series episode, just like, I wrote it down, How Sharper Than a Serpent's Tooth, also out of King Lear. So I found that
Yeah.
interesting that there's like King Lear references. Shakespeare's been a big thing of Star Trek since Next Generation. When I think the first Shakespeare reference is when Picard threw his complete book of William Shakespeare at Q. I think what is the first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Q throws it back at him.
I love that.
Yeah, but yeah, saying, I mean, I got a good couple of pages of notes. But what are some of your early thoughts about the first part of the episode? Like the start with Caleb and Tamira just
Mira.
getting giggity, saying this would be a time when Leftwich is like, oh, giggity giggity.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I thought that was actually quite sweet. I mean, finally, I've been waiting for them to have at it since the beginning. But it was done very sweetly, and it really showed the connection that they have, and I love that it wasn't overdone, and it was. I think it was done very tastefully, and it was so serene as well, and it was actually quite relaxing to watch.
But yeah, it did start getting a little
You
weird.
laugh at me, Travis.
Say, but I'm honestly, when I first saw that, the first thing that I'm surprised that was not mentioned was the word Imzadi.
Yes, I
That's the
was
kind of the
waiting for that.
connection that they were having, but say obviously it kind of like tied in later in the episode and it was still not mentioned. But now with what
I don't think it will be. I mean, I hope it is, but I'm wondering if it will be or not, because that was very much a Deanna and Riker thing.
Yeah, the weird Betazoid thing is, as Caleb called it.
Yeah. But no, I've loved their connection from the off. I can never remember the Klingon's name, but
Jaden.
Yeah. His and Kyle's connection is so sweet. It really is, and I can see a very deep friendship at the very least with those two.
Oh yeah.
And that's been shown in the last couple of episodes as well, like mainly in the last episode and then this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say that with the destruction of Kronos after the burn, they've definitely kind of rethought a lot of the familial structures in Klingon culture, having two dads and a mom, or it could maybe could be two moms and a dad. And say we don't go too deep into that in that episode, but it just kind of shows that the Klingon society has evolved, that they have become more I mean, this is probably the most sexually fluid series out of all the Star Treks, because I know I'd say they don't even have to mention Jet Reno and Laura Thok. It's just like there it is. Say, love you, kitten. It's like, I still hate you.
Yeah, oh, I love their relationship. I really do. Although, I mean, I know that we're talking about like this week's episode, but
Mhm.
because I haven't been here for a while, what the hell is going on with the Doctor? He has got some serious trauma he needs to work out. He is very off his game.
Well, yeah, Travis and I spoke about that last week because I made note of it too because there is definitely some sort of trauma, whether it was from back when the Voyager crew was still alive. Was it the loss of Seven? Was it the loss of Janeway? Or did he have some sort of love interest that he just finally decided to let his guard down, and then
Yeah.
something bad happened? Either they died tragically or they just died of old age. Say the Doctor has just become a little cynical
But
over it.
also he's very I can't think of the word, but he's very funny around Sam.
No, because Sam's immoral, but he kind of dropped the hammer on her in that episode too. Just like, yeah, just he thought of her as a protege, and maybe he thought it was a kindred spirit to Seven. But when she kind of like off off whatever plan that the Doctor had for her, that kind of peed him off a little bit.
Yeah, I really hope that we get to the bottom of his trauma, because you could even see it in this episode. It was very it was very, I mean, don't get me wrong, he is a brilliant doctor, he is a brilliant teacher. I'm not taking any of that away from him. When I say he's off his game, I mean his people skills. And he seems very overly guarded, and he was like it in this episode as well, especially when Tamira ripped out her inhibitor.
The inhibitor, yeah, the cortical. No, that's Seven.
But yeah, it was almost like he was trying to stop himself from panicking. And now, even though obviously the Doctor has, I mean, we saw in Voyager, he went through a lot of emotional evolution, and his personality evolved, and he became a true individual, like separate from his programming. But I've not seen that panic probably since Imperfection. That kind of panic on his face. And I'm just wondering what the hell has gone on. That is, you know, that, because I mean, bearing in mind this is like hundreds of years after all that. So, you know, rather he's carrying stuff from way back then, or something more recent has happened. And I do hope that we do get to the bottom of it, because it was still very evident in this episode.
Yeah, but say honestly, I don't think we're gonna see a lot of them going into that, since we only got 4 episodes left after this. That to go too deep into the Doctor's past, the series has already been renewed for season 2. So
Good.
hopefully one of the early episodes in season 2 kind of dips into that a little bit.
Yeah, I hope so, because I love the Doctor, and I don't like to see him like this. You know, I just want to wrap him up and hug him close.
But
I want to mother him.
Yeah, it's just like, but yeah, but one thing that Sean Ferrick mentioned on the ups and downs is that even though we're like another 800 years into the future from previous Star Trek iterations, is that you would think that they would be able to perfect the hologram communication technology by now. As say the Admiral Vance is still glitching out every now and then, though it's possible a plausible explanation in this regard is the fact the Furies
Well, yeah, all the
jamming signal kind of,
interference.
but I mean it with Discovery glitchy. The earlier episodes of this glitchy. And saying so you'd think they by now. Well,
Yeah, but
that you can tell I'm aggravated by that in any means.
you see, I understand that, but I mean, like, how long has the telephone been invented? And you still get glitches on the line there on a landline. You know, cell phones, they've been out a hell of a long time. You still get glitches. You know, you still get towers going down, like cell towers and stuff. So it's all to do with the relays and everything. So, you know, it's people just need to keep on top of maintenance, basically.
Yeah, see, but oddly, as weird as it is, I took, like I said, I took quite a few pages of notes, but unfortunately, a lot of it was later in the episode. I was saying I didn't really write too much into the early stuff, but yeah, it just kind of jumps almost right away to when the Furies kind of just ambush
Ambush.
the Athena would be probably about the best way to describe it because everything's all right and good. Their comic books are still a thing in the 32nd century, so yay for that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really do comic books, but you know,
I don't really either, but yeah. I still got most of the comic books I have are Star Trek, surprise surprise. Um but yeah, see
I
one of
own
these days
3 comic books, and I bought them specifically to have them signed.
But yeah, say to and for some dumb reason I didn't write the name of the ship that they're doing the training on.
Oh,
The Miyazaki?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Actually, I thought I wrote it down, but
It's the
it's named after a guy
Miyazaki.
that did Miyazaki. Yeah, Miyazaki.
Yeah. I was just gonna Google it.
But
see, I'm terrible with names.
yeah, see my sleep schedule has been really wonky these last couple of days. So say go to a lot of doctor appointments and things like that, trying to juggle that in the house and work and just like it's fun. And I got a eye doctor tomorrow morning, so yay, I digress.
It's fine. My ditziness has rubbed off on you. It's okay.
I did write the name of the commander that took Mir's team over to the Miyazaki, Tomov. And say that I say a hero's death for him. It just that they tried to fend off. It's just like the nonverbal communication and all that, which is
between
kind
him
of
and Bobo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bobby.
But
yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
nice that that still exists as well in the future, because it's a very old school technique of communication, and like you said with the comic books, it's nice to see that some traditions have survived.
But Caleb, with the best way I can describe his tribal knowledge, using the programmable manner to get the systems back online. There's just like he was questioning it, but he's like, doop, 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 done, you're good. So they gold star for him in that. But yeah, the way the Furies, which I didn't really get too deep into it, but in beta canon, there back in the 90s, there was a series of novels that there were Furies an alien race. I don't know how close in similarity they are to those Furies because it's been the 90s since I read those books, and I think those are still in storage up in Seattle. So, say I can't like just like.
Yeah, I wasn't keen on them. I really wasn't. They were quite bland for me.
Bland?
I mean, Yeah, I mean,
let's go into that because those things are why I had freaking nightmares after I watched that episode.
for me, it. How can I put this without sounding like a raging bitch? I can't. I thought that they were bland. They were, it was like they were just created in like visual, auditory, how they were, devourers of the flesh. It's almost like the writers just went, we need something scary, this'll do. And I like the jamming signals. And I mean, in all honesty, I think that the Gorn are a lot more profound than the Furies, and for me, that as soon as that they sent that first communication to the Athena, I'm just like, yeah, I know everything there is to know about them now. There doesn't seem to be anything else to discover about them. They make threats. They will not honor anything. They will eat people. They will kill people. They just don't give a crap. And they have jamming technology that works. And yeah, whereas like a race like the Gorn, there was more to find out about them. That they weren't just search, kill, destroy. That they've got a lot of depth to them. But these Furies, unless they come back, and there is a lot more depth to them than what was shown in this episode. I don't know. I don't like them. I didn't find them scary. I didn't find them formidable in any profound sense of the word. Yeah, fair enough. They pack a punch, but it's nothing that we haven't seen before. So for me, that they were quite bland. Maybe if they were used in a different, maybe if they were used in a different way or whatever, but it was kind of predictable for me, and that's why I find them a little bit bland. Don't get me wrong, it worked for the purpose of the episode. It did. It worked beautifully. But yeah, something new could have been, because like I say, it's nothing that we haven't seen before. And it...
Well, I know like the little clicky sound that they were making is very reminiscent of those Solanogen-based life forms from the episode Schisms.
Yes, and
were they a similar species? Are these Furies an offshoot of those, perhaps, or
maybe? Because it kind of also looked as though they were like flickering in and out of phase as well.
Oh, yeah, because that just added to the creep factor, in my opinion, at least, which I just think also watching this episode at just before bed just really just subconsciously just kind of put something in my subconscious that just
but yeah, and the fact that they eat people,
it's hard to articulate, except just the fact that it just freaking creeped me the frick out.
And you see, I mean, I've grown up on like horror. I mean, I've been watching horror since I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I'm not easily scared. Don't get me wrong. If there were like big ass hairy spiders, then yes, I'd have been hiding under my duvet because I suffer from arachnophobia. But if I didn't suffer from arachnophobia, it wouldn't have bothered me. But you know, it's almost like that they've taken pieces of other races that we know of and smooshed them together. Because, you know, like the eating people, that's very reminiscent of the Gorn. The clicky, 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 that's very, those aliens from Schisms. And then the in and out of phase thing that they seem to be doing. It seemed, I don't know, it seemed kind of forced. I don't know. I mean, it, like I say, it worked for the tone of the episode beautifully. It did. I'm not taking that away from anything. I just, yeah, I wanted to see something new from these Furies.
Like
Yeah.
one little tidbit, when I was reading the description and saw Furies, at first glance I thought it said furries.
No. Now that
But
would have
then
been
was
something.
yeah, it's like carnivorous furry creatures.
No.
But yeah, saying if you agree or disagree with Katie in that assessment, got 7 slots available for you to pop in on camera, on microphone, just to, or just like I said, just use the chat, because the chat's been actually kind of quiet, and Phil's been kind of quiet too. So hopefully something didn't take him away, because I'd love to hear his perspective on the Furies. But I mean, honestly, after what happened on the bridge, and when one of the Furies had literally Caleb by the neck, saying that they were going to kill everybody, is saying poor cadet Pickford, she was just
Oh.
losing it. She was just having a proper panic attack.
Oh, bless her. Yeah, I so wanted to just wrap my arms around her and hug her at that point. I don't know why, but in this episode, I've been very mother hen. I just wanted to like wrap everybody up and hug everyone and make sure that they're okay.
Well, this is the
No,
first.
everybody's not gonna be okay in this episode. No, no.
Yeah.
To me, that cadet, as Sean Ferrick said, I did not. To me, in the military service and stuff like that, if you lose control like that, you need to go. If you have emotional breakdown, you need to go. To me, you're trained. You're psychologically trained to deal with that. If that cadet act like that, I'm glad they put her off the bridge. But to me, I would have cut her from the academies, because people like that, I can't. I get like, you know what? You are in an organization that you are supposed to, understand that you are going out into not just the world, but the universe. It has all kinds of danger. The universe is going to be menacing, terrible, awful. Get used to that. And if you're not used to that, then guess what? Just go back home and go up under your bed and stuff like that, because the world and the universe is not nice. And if you're going to have a panic attack every time you have some big bad and stuff like that, you need to off yourself, or go somewhere and stuff, because it's ridiculous and stuff. I was like, they put somebody on there who's gonna be like, oh my god, Starfleet's not about hunky dunky and all this stuff like that. We see there are big bads that they come up against and stuff like that. And if you can't handle, and if you can't emotionally control yourself and everything else, then frankly, the organization, this organization is not for you, especially or in the war college and stuff and everything. So I'm kind of glad that they went like, yeah. And Sean Fair even said it too. That's I wasn't too keen. He gave a thumbs down on that particular scene and stuff like that. I mean, she apologized and stuff and everything, but I still find it kind of like they wrote that in there. I'm like, oh, you Hollywood writers, these Hollywood writers today, they kill me.
But no, I say, Katie, you had some, because you're just like about ready to punch your camera with that finger there.
Yeah, I strongly disagree with you, Travis. Now, fair enough, that is not ideal. However, where are they? They are at school. What is a school meant for? To learn, to prepare. These, all right, fair enough, it turned into something really, oh, holy shit. But that's why they're at the academy. It's something they want to do, and they will learn how, they will be taught, they will learn how to deal with these situations. This was a completely random, incident. It turned into something very real. And some cadets, even people in the going into the military, if they're on just a standard training exercise and they've only been there a few weeks, pardon me, if they've only been there a few weeks and they're just in like standard training and then something very real happens, even people in military training can have that happen to them, and they go on to be some of the best of the best. And so, I actually know people personally who freaked out really badly during like cadets and their early military training, and they went on to gain medals because they learned. They learned how to deal with situations, but at that time they weren't prepared for these situations coming up so soon. And
I don't know. That kind of sounds to me like, I don't know. I guess for me, I'm ready for anything. No matter how trouble it is, I'm ready for the shock and stuff and everything. And I'm not gonna be, oh my goodness and stuff. Oh, clutch my pearls and stuff and everything. I'm like, bring it on. The world is a scary place. If you don't see stuff that is a scary place and stuff like that, then you know what? Go hide and.
But sometimes you need to have that bit of a breakdown in order to build yourself up as well. And for some people, you may not be like that. Half of Starfleet Academy may not be like that, but some cadets need that breakdown early on in order to build themselves up and to be like, that can't happen again.
To me, that's that right there is a reason. If you have that one reason, then that means you should be booted out of academy. I mean, if there's one thing like that, it's like you're out of
disagree on that, Alan.
You're out of the academy because you're a weak ass. I need strong people to be in the academies and stuff, or the war college or something like that. They rebuilding after this burn, but they have people freaking out like she did, having a panic attack or whatever and stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is. I know this show is designed. It's not a target demographic for people like me because I'm in my 40s, and they are a demographic target for people who are kids or in that.
Kitty.
She's upside down. But it's not a target demographic. I see it from a point of like, wow, they really this show is really not targeting people who are OG Treks fans and stuff, and it is. I can't say I'm loving it. I enjoyed this episode in the sense because of Nus Braka. I love how it gave me that little Deep Space Nine feeling when Michael Eddington revealed himself to be one of the leaders of the Maquis. He told Cisco basically, just how insidious the Federation is. He's like, I love it when the bad guys can really bring someone down off their high horse, or just give them a good dose of, what? This is what I really hate about you, and I hate this man. He really made, Nahla feel this big. Oh my goodness. I was like, what? Paul Giamatti did such a good job in this because it gave her, because like he said, her smugness, how he referred to it in the Federation, how he hates the Federation. And it's, what's it? Chlamydia bureaucracy.
He called it bureaucratic chlamydia.
The bureaucratic chlamydia. He called it bureaucratic chlamydia and stuff like that. And I was like, I love it when there are times when the bad guys win or they get the upper hand on, the heroes and stuff and everything, just because, you need a cold dose of reality thrown in your face and stuff, some humility, because it really at first it was like, yeah, this show's gonna kind of be like that one, but I was waiting for the one when they brought him back in a sense to to really jam home, to jam to us about why this character is part of the first the first series season of this Starfleet Academies and stuff, and the back and forth between him and uh Captain Nala, it
Okay.
was Aki. It was really good and stuff because he was really showing that he had the upper hand, and by saying that he does not care, gives him a tactical strategy at making sure that, like, I'm the one who right now have the upper hand and stuff. I like that. But then it revealed just how at the end how much he hates her. And he told her, I'm so glad that you became, you're a teacher, because it gives me a reason to keep on going. And I need a reason to keep on going. And I was like, you know what? That's some strong words. I like that. You need somebody to hate for you to keep going. And it was really good because he said there's something else coming up, and we will see here in the next I say close to the end of the season finale, the probably in episode 9 or something. But it was
Oh,
really
yeah,
it was
definitely episode 9 and 10, but
oh
7
episode
and
yeah.
8.
And I
Season 1 is going to end on a major cliffhanger, and it's going to involve him more than likely.
absolutely. Like I said, I really enjoy how they made all these, to me, like these happy fun cadets and stuff and everything else. Like somebody actually put it like this: they wish that they kind of did Starfleet Academies like how we saw Wesley Crusher and Nicholas Locarno and all them ones and stuff and everything else, instead of like we got this, but that's nor here nor there and stuff and everything. It made you, this episode made you in a sense realize that what they entering is not the whole fun explore, let's go do this and stuff and everything else. It's like there are going to be some real world where people die, people get hurt and die and stuff and everything else, and bringing back Paul Giamatti's character, it really hit home that are y'all ready to be part of this organization that has to deal with very bad people or bad beings out there that are literally going to try to kill you, and how do you deal with that and everything else, like the Fleet Admiral said, Nus Braka is about to be one of the most wanted person in the galaxy. I was like, oh, he got a price on his head, because I mean, after that right there, that means you are going, and I suspect this too, they're gonna want him dead or alive. That's the old American thing. He there's a price on his head, dead or alive.
Yeah, I think at the minute they just all want him dead. I don't
yeah.
think they would officially admit it. Whoa, Jesus, squirrel cam. But I mean, I hate his guts. He's a proper dickhead. Although he did make me giggle. He did make me giggle when he first boarded the ship with what he said. I can't remember the last bit of it, but he just said, I'm wanked, I'm spanked. And I'm just like, I couldn't help but laugh. Because that is actually a very British thing to say. But yeah, he did make me giggle there, but I hate that he made me giggle. Because I really can't stand him. He is a creep, he is a dick. He is, yeah. But he's a really good character to hate, and I love that about him. That is one thing I love about him, is that he's very easy to hate, and he's a very good adversary.
Oh, and there's one thing I want to bring up about him that happened towards the end of the episode, but I just wanted to pedal back on on the Pickford character a little bit. Say Katie, you're saying it's a couple of weeks in the academy. On by our timeline, it's only been a couple of weeks, but it's been about 4 months since they started going to the academy. So they've had classes, they've had started doing trainings and things like that. And this is not the first time that she's had a meltdown. She had a meltdown in the first two episodes of the series too. So
True.
this is a recurring theme. Though I would say, well, she either needs more training on being a little more dispassionate, trying to disconnect herself from the situation, or as Travis
Yeah.
says, she's got to go. She's got to find another career path.
But can I just point something out?
Hmm.
Nobody ever got on about how cowardly Bashir used to be.
What?
I'm sorry, but Julian Bashir, in the first couple of seasons of DS9, he was pretty cowardly. I mean, don't get me wrong. When it came to his actual job as being a doctor, he was on it like a car bonnet. It was. But he still had that like freak out moment, and he was just like, oh, holy hell, what's going on kind of thing. But then he saw somebody in need, and he was just like, he was straight on it. But he had his little panic attacks. He had his little moments, and he was very jittery in like.
You remember any
stressful
episodes?
situations.
You remember any episode? Because I can't remember. I can't recall him ever being.
You see, I don't know names of episodes, but I do remember there was one episode where DS9 was attacked, and Julian was basically, although, pretty calmly for him, but it was kind of like, it was all over the place. But then he saw somebody on the promenade who was bleeding out, and he just focused on them. And he started rapping out orders, and he got Odo to apply pressure to the wound. And that's it. He was focused.
That was Emissary. That was the episode Emissary.
Yeah, so there was that, and he was all over the place, and until he had that focus, and he needed to do his job, and then he was right in it. But there were other times when he was like really panicky, and the only thing that basically snapped him out of it was somebody bleeding out in need or in need of medical attention. And nobody ever said anything about that.
Well, I think I might be able to address that to a certain extent, because this is how I've been introducing myself in a lot of my AA meetings. Is I'm a socially awkward alcoholic. And saying I have a hard time communicating with people, sometimes people that I don't know, people that are outside of my sphere of influence. So I just have that social awkwardness. I just don't know how to say something. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I might say the wrong thing. I want to be careful. I'm more reserved. I'm more inward. But when it comes to brass tacks, when it comes to something that I know what to do and how to do it, bam, I'm hyper focused, just like Julian.
Well, yeah, there is that, and yeah, he does have a lot of social awkwardness. Fair dues, but there have been times where other Star Trek characters as well have had their little freak out moments, and they're fully fledged officers, and they've had that. I mean, yeah, Barclay, yes, he suffered so much with anxiety. He was so panicky. He would at one point he wouldn't even get in a bloody transporter. And he was so panicky, and yet he'd gone through the academy, he'd had all this training, and he was still probably the most jittery out of all of them. All right, I know that it's animated and that, but Boimler, I mean, I don't think we got through an episode without his girlie screaming and panicking and losing his head, and he'd been through the academy and was an officer, and at the end of the day, people are people, and they have emotion, and sometimes even fully fledged officers who have been through the academy, graduated, who are lieutenants or commanders, you know, can have those little freak out moments of a panic attack when, and oh yeah, a fully fledged panic attack. When something is suddenly thrust upon them that they weren't expecting, especially something so tragic as what happened in this episode. And, you know, to come face to face with that for the first time can be very difficult for some people. But, you know, going through the academy and going through training and, you know, being taught how to deal with things like that.
I just lose all respect. I just lose all respect for those people and everything. They just, to me, they'll be like, you know, out of here. You know, I just totally like, yeah, no, you know, I can't look at you the same way. If there's any shred of dignity that I have for you, I'm like, it's gone. You know, I can't. You know, you could be
at the end of the day. Sometimes our emotions override everything. There are times in our lives when we're faced with something, and however much we try, our emotions just sap all of our logic, our control, and we do have these like little mini meltdowns. And, you know, because at the end of the day, we're only human, and, you know, we have emotion. Our emotions are very deep. And yeah, sometimes a situation arises and your brain just can't take it, and emotion overrides. And, you know, some people may just stand there silently in a daze, or they may have tears streaming down the face, or they get angry, or they'll have a panic attack. You know, people deal with things differently. And yeah, fair enough. This cadet has gone into an organization that faces things like that every day. But if she, I mean, we don't really know much about her. She could have some deep-seated trauma that she's trying to work through. And, you know, some people go into the military because they're trying to deal with trauma and get over it and to strengthen themselves. You know,
I don't know if the military is a place to do that. It's to like try to.
Sometimes it is.
I mean, especially in like Starfleet, it's like I don't think it's an organization, you know, because.
But you think about it. You think about it. Someone who's gone through a lot in their life and who wants to make a difference, and also who wants some discipline and control. Some people do go towards the military to gain that, to toughen up. But yeah, you know, to toughen up, to harden themselves a little bit so that they don't get overrun. Yeah.
Sobriety chips.
See, AA chips. Yeah, you just point that. That's how they point that AA chips and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying in a sense, you know, like this in this particular cadet and stuff and everything, but it's like, you know, if freak out is your first thing, you know, and then, you know, people just like, oh, you know, I need to give you a hug, and, you know, wishy-washy and all that other stuff and other things and stuff. It's like, you do know that, you know, a place like, you know, the Federation operates in space. Starfleet operates in space. You know, space is going to be dangerous. You're going to find all kinds of big, bad, nasty and stuff and everything, from the little to the big stuff like that and everything else, you know. So
yes, it happens all in space. Hoshi, she was terrified of going up into space. Yeah. She was terrified of being on the NX-01, and yet she turned out to be one of the best officers. You know, she overcame that, and, you know, she joined an organization that happened in space. You know, and she did not like it one bit. She was always concerned of, oh, we're going to be safe. You know, and all that jazz, but she overcame it and she became more confident. She didn't think about it anymore. And she'd been through the academy. She'd been through all her training, and she was a fully fledged officer, and yet she toughened up.
Well, talking about emissary, saying that first episode, Cisco's contemplating switching to civilian service on Earth instead of being out in space anymore. So I mean, sometimes even the best of individuals, they reach a breaking point.
Exactly. And this cadet, we know nothing about her. She could have been forced into the academy by her family for all we know. Or she may have chosen to go into the academy to toughen up so that she can make a difference. And I love you, Travis. I really do. But I really do strongly disagree with you on this.
Oh, I know. I just I look for the weakness in things, and I look the first thing and the first signs of stuff like that I see. I call it a weakness. I look at it. I say, you got to cut your cords. The moment if I see something like that, I gotta just say, you gotta get out. But no, I'm just like, I don't deal with people. I don't deal with people. I don't deal with people who are, in a sense, if you got too much baggage and stuff and everything else, get away from me. I mean, if you got extra baggage like that, you got to go. Because I don't deal. I don't deal. I'm in here and now dealing with what's going on. You can go. Hey, Phil. How you doing, Phil?
I'm all right. Hi, nice to see you back, Katie.
Yes, and thank you for that picture. I absolutely love it.
Oh,
I do.
so it's about 50% done. There's still more coming, but I thought since it was colored, maybe I knew you've been dying to see it. So
yeah, and that really did cheer me up. I really did need a pick me up that day. I don't know how you knew, but I absolutely adore it, and I actually did a happy dance with the jazz hands and everything.
Oh.
But before we get into Phil's little take of, because he's been listening backstage, he's finally able to pop on and join us live, so welcome. But Paul Giamatti totally stole the show.
Yeah.
He really did.
Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti. Nus
Braka.
He's the villain.
Oh, the dickhead. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the hills are live. The hills are live with the sounds of murder.
I love that line. I'm sorry, but yeah.
And then when he was trying some tequila, he referred to it as slippery cat piss.
Mm-hmm. What did his father call him?
I'm so glad I swallowed that.
What did his father call him?
Lucifer?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's an insult to Lucifer. I'm sorry, but it is. I happen to like Satan. I follow him on Twitter.
Just like,
no, seriously, I do.
I believe you. Yeah, I just looking at some of my one-line notes because I'm just like, note. What did that note mean? Crap.
This is why I stopped taking notes, because I got to a point where, why did I write that down? Why did I just put dickhead? I that's how I started taking notes, and like I was just like writing things down as I was watching it, but I wasn't putting any reference to it. And there was just words like holy shit and dickhead and how rude and how dare he. And I'm just like, I have no idea what that's about. Oh, so come again.
Woohoo! No, but Captain Ake having a model of the NX-01 in our office. I thought that was pretty slick.
yeah. Mhm.
And there's talk
I
that
love
that could
that.
be like an actual Eagle Moss model that people can purchase and have on their own shelf. See, I still need to put together my model of the NX-01 that I got for Christmas from the Strange New Pod Secret Santa exchange because, again, don't have the time. But someday soon I will make the time to sit down and just kind of put it together because when I put it on my wish list, I didn't notice that some assembly is required for it. It's like crap.
Yeah, well, when I eventually get my, because at some point I am planning on getting the NX-01 and Voyager, I will make sure that there is no assembly required. And then when it comes out, the Athena, because I absolutely adore that shit.
I had
And
a friend of mine
anybody
that
who
used
says
to.
differently is wrong.
I had a friend of mine that used to every Christmas would collect the Hallmark.
Hallmark.
The Hallmark would put out the ornaments
Hallmarks.
that are
Yeah.
I got
gorgeous
quite a
detail.
few of those.
Yeah, those are really nice.
The boxes aren't in the best of condition, so that devalues them. My mom was upset because she would buy them for me, and I would just keep them in the box. I would not put it on the tree because I was thinking
Oh.
that's like these are gonna be worth some money.
Yeah. Phil, what is your thoughts? Because it's the top of the hour right now, and what's your thoughts? Because I know
Yeah,
right now Katie is like tripping at me.
It was good to see. I guess. So it was good to see an episode that was finally a little bit grittier and a little bit darker. I sort of wish they had done that a little earlier on. I think because I feel like we've come halfway through the season as a show that feels a bit lighter. That was, as I said, I always felt like it was like you, Travis. I felt like it wasn't the demographic. Not that it was bad or anything wrong with it.
Yeah,
but I felt like it wasn't clicking, but so I watched it anyways because I was still entertained by it, and I'm like, okay, so this is kind of the for a younger crowd, and so just we'll kind of watch it at that standpoint, and then all of a sudden, boom, halfway through, it drops this like really dark episode that just boom out of nowhere. So I don't know, it's kind of offset the I don't want to say the show doesn't know what it wants to be because I don't know if that was maybe the plan that they were going to set up to have something like a feel-good series, and then all of a sudden, boom, hit them over the head with like a really dark. And then what's it going to do from here? Is it going to be like this? Are we going to come back to, lighter episodes again? So wait and see what it does.
Almost like the fun, like the prank episode, about like, we got to have these plants that are in danger and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it just as long as the show kind of does know what it wants to be, and it might after when the season comes to an end, or when the series comes to an end after episode 10, you can kind of look and see, get better to see where the overall arcing was. But overall, I love Paul Giamatti. He just, whether you put him in anything and he's going to like eat up the scenery and steal everything, he really delves into. And I knew. Like I'm watching, I'm thinking, why are you going to this guy? Is there no other option? Like what? And I'm thinking, and
dude, that was a trope. That was such a trope. I knew it.
He's gonna play you guys, and she's gonna play you. And I'm just like, and I'm watching the conversation going like nobody's being forthright here. Like everybody's trying to set everybody else up to get what they want out of this. And yeah, so it was. But it was fun to kind of watch Paul Giamatti doing that, though. That was,
he bought, Paul. The character he's playing, Nus Braka. He bought a real, sense of humility in the sense because it seemed like we seen in the past episodes it was like this fun, like we're gonna learn all this stuff and everything else, but it's like this is what the real universe is like. And there are beings out there who don't give a flying fig about you or stuff like that. At first, the whole thing was, we want what was it? 30,000 bars of gold pressed platinum.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that was the ransom demand. They had to hurry up and get that. And he said, you know, the fleet admiral said that, you know, they can have capital ships there within an hour and stuff and everything. I'm like, you know, I even suspect, I was like, man, there's more. You just don't know what this guy's up to and stuff. But then we found out, you know, he was working with the Furies and stuff and everything else. He drove them out of, you know, sector 119 or whatever and stuff and everything.
That was the alien.
J19
The
Alpha.
creepy aliens.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, sorry. The fear, that was the creepy aliens, right? I was trying to remember the name of it.
Furies.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they had like a cloak chip and stuff and everything else. I guess cloaking technology and, you know, in the future stuff like that is pretty, you know, well known stuff and everything else. But also too, did you catch did any of y'all catch too? Vance has said something about the T-Tari system. That was such a thing. Dave knows what I'm talking about, but he said the T-Tari system. I was like, did they not just do a throwback to a TNG episode? It was the TNG episode Clues. And Sean Ferrick didn't even put this. He didn't even put this. Yeah, Sean Ferrick didn't even cover this. I guess he didn't have time. He didn't, you know, him and his people didn't have time and everything. But the T-Tari system is Clues, where they all lost the day of, you know, the memory, and Data's the only one who remembered, and that their little clues was left over and stuff like that. It was it was the T-Tari, and he used the word T-Tari system. I was like, oh my god, that was when, you know, the aliens were there and they everybody, you know, they wanted to destroy shit, but, you know, I mean, I was thinking that was a pretty interesting little tidbit. Stuff.
Do you know the biggest complaint that I have about this episode?
Go for it.
Yeah.
How the hell did they not see that coming? Him double crossing them. How did they not see that?
They alluded to it, but they looked at the risk being greater than the potential reward, or
I know, but the fact that he was working with the Furies, that seems to come as like a really big shock to them, you know. And it's like, really, is it that much of a shock? You should have had a contingency in place for this, knowing who you are up against. And they didn't. And that really pissed me off. Now, fair enough, the starbase with the ship and all that, fair enough. They couldn't have foreseen that, in my opinion. But him working with the Furies, him double crossing them, that shouldn't have come as a shock. They should have had a contingency plan for that eventuality, knowing who they were working for. And that kind of disappointed me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show you not the naive, you know, the thinking, the naive thinking that, yeah, they're war college and they're Starfleet. They don't think about, like, I can't say the war college because I don't know, but like, you don't think about a military tactician, like you thinking, you know, something in the military range and everything. It's like, you know, something smells wrong. You gotta think before, you know, stuff like that. It's like, what's going on? Something doesn't feel right.
Yeah, but you know, now I hate to point this out, but you know, all of these officers, they've been through the academy, they've had the training, they've dealt with things in their careers, and yet, and they've dealt with this individual before, and yet they never saw this coming. They didn't have a backup plan in case they were double crossed, in case, you know, and you know, they've got all this experience. The guy that's always complaining, the one who barely smiles, who's in charge
you
of
talk about
Kellerick,
or
Kellerick.
Would you say Kellerick?
Yeah, Kellerick. You know, he is in charge of the war college. He is one for strategy and things like that. And even he didn't see this coming. And I'm just like, okay, so you've worked with this individual before. You've got all this experience under your belt, and yet you couldn't have foreseen a double cross like this.
It crossed my mind too. I kind of sort of chopped it up that the writers probably intended it to be a big twist, and it's a bit of it's a fault in the writers, I think, that just kind of didn't see
not
that.
being funny around, but I saw that coming. Yeah. And I never see things coming. You know, I'm one of these people where, you know, something could be in neon lights and I could miss it. You know, but even I saw that coming. And I'm not military minded or strategically minded. I don't have all that training. You know, they do. And yet they were naive enough to believe that that wouldn't happen, because if that wasn't the case, then they would have had a contingency plan for this.
And you know, I mean, the whole thing was to go and basically rob, you know, basically to lure the Sargasso, which was the, you know, the Intrepid class ship, the Sargasso, away from Starbase J19 Alpha. Yeah, J19 Alpha, to get a lot of their secret technology. And I can only imagine what some of the secret technology Nus Braka got his hands on. You know, I mean, it's like, whoa, like the changelings, you know, in season 3 Picard and stuff like that, they got their hands on Daystrom, you know, the Daystrom Institute technology that was a portal weapon. You know, it was like, what? Daystrom Institute working on such a weapon like that?
Yeah, but you know, it's like I said, that the space station with the like top secret technology and all that jazz. I don't think they could have foreseen that. I don't think they could have foreseen that. But the double cross, they definitely should have from the off. And I mean, in comparison, you know, in comparison, Travis, what's worse? Officers with all this experience under their belt not foreseeing a double cross from someone who's known to double cross, or a young cadet 4 months into the academy having a little tiny panic attack.
Well, you know, I kind of lay this on Captain Aki. I'm not gonna say, you know, I know Vance want to take blame, but I think it's more blame on her, because she has a more familiar understanding of the individual, and he didn't. And he told her to sit down, and he just went at her. He just laid to talk about her son, how she chose to save her crew over her son. She let her son die. Yeah, she staffed left tonight and stuff. You know, he was just going, and she was just sitting there quietly, just, you know, taking it, absorbing it all in and everything else. And it's like, yeah, she said he slipped up. He said something that he slipped up and said something and everything else. But she still seemed like she didn't account for what is your end game. She said she didn't seem like she understood the level of viciousness that he is capable of and everything, until at the end when she got that, you know, when he contacted her via, you know, he said you could trace this, you know, whatever, you know, this transmission, whatever stuff and everything else. But he just laid into her about, we got the understanding of why is he doing this? Why is he, you know, so fixated on her and others around her? Because he wants, basically, he sees he sees Starfleet and Starfleet academies just the way Michael Eddington seeing the Federation and everything else. He says, he basically says he see it as, you know, a disruption to the way his life is. It's like, she basically said, in a way, she said that the way he lived his life is bad and horrible, but yet, you know, he wants to try to prove that, you know, they are no different than what they are and stuff like that. But they just have two different meanings of whose life, you know, how you constitute bad and good and stuff and everything else. It's like, you know, it's a way of like it was one of those things that even Sean Fair pointed out about like just how sadistic and you know just nasty he is because he is so
Oh,
fixated on her and he wants others around her to suffer and he's gonna make them,
Absolutely.
you know, and it is pretty like I said, Paul Giamatti, he did a really good he's doing a really good job at this character stuff because I know you say you call him what? Dickhead?
Oh yeah, he's a proper dickhead. He is. I mean, I could say a lot more colourful things about him, but you know, I want to keep this like PG-13, you know, or at least, you know, 15, you know. But he is he really is like he's a proper dick. He really is, and he is sadistic, and that was established episodes ago.
oh, and
You know,
or any, no, go ahead.
and I do agree with Travis on one thing. It is mainly on Nahla because she knows him more intimately than the others, and at the end of the day, she's got a hell of a lot more years of experience under her belt than them lot combined.
Mm-hmm.
And she should have foreseen it above the others.
Yeah.
You know,
She
so
should
yeah,
have-
I do agree with you, Travis, on that.
yeah. I mean, it's like he's
See,
sitting there,
me and Travis can't agree.
he's he was baiting her. It's like he was baiting her for something. I was like, there's something not right about this. I mean, he's you know, you call him in and he dealt with them and stuff. But to me, even I was like, even she said, there's something not right about this. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
there's something
I
not
thought
right.
she was counterbaiting him for a while. I thought that she was
Yeah,
playing into that kind of thing, right? So that's what I was
I thought so
expecting.
too.
Double twist.
I thought so
Yeah.
too.
So
Well, she was
I
bluffing.
Yeah.
She was bluffing. Don't get me wrong, she bluffed really well, but it didn't pay off in the end.
No, it didn't.
I mean, I've never really took Nahla for being overly naive, but
No.
in this episode, she certainly was, because you know she played right into his hands, and then some, you know, and yeah, it was just it was his behavior and everything that happened was very predictable for him. The double cross, the working with the enemy, that's what he does. He is only out for himself, and it is being established of how much he hates her. And he had to go and prove it again to her, and she fell into it so easily. And I'm just like, oh, come on, girl, where's your head?
That's exactly right. Kelly.
I do feel like it was it's like the episode wanted to reach this specific climax, and I feel like there was a lot of bending in the writing to get it to this point, and a few things ended up getting overlooked in the process of that. But I felt like they really wanted to punch this particular ending, and it was what they needed to do to get to that point. So yeah, it ended up sacrificing a little bit on some things there. So
I'm glad you used the word bend, because the first word that comes to mind is twist, because say Braka just knows how to just twist the knife just enough to really make Nahla uncomfortable, because right there at the end of the episode, you say that you sacrificed your son to save everyone, but then you turn around, you save Caleb, and everybody dies.
Yeah. But it wasn't just him that she was saving. You know,
but she does feel
but
responsible because tied into the
oh,
first episode,
absolutely,
kind of
yeah.
like a redemption to repair the damage that she caused by arresting Caleb's mother.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, like you said, Dave, he knows where to stab the knife and how to twist it just so. And I'm quite surprised that she fell into it so easily.
I know, that's what trips me out.
Mm.
Oh, I was like, even though Vince said it is on him, oh no, she said this is awful.
No.
She took it personally.
It is, but so she should, because it is on her.
Right there, yeah.
It is. And if she would have taken a step back, and did you notice something in this episode? And I know this is going to sound so screwed up, but in this episode, she wasn't thinking clearly all throughout, and it is possibly the only episode where she's had shoes on all the way through it.
Oh,
and
on that.
what she was saying about walking around barefoot, how it's grounding and how it can actually help to keep your equilibrium and all this. I can't remember exactly what words she used, but I do know that is a fact. That's why I walk around barefoot so much, even outside. But she had boots on all the way through this episode. I don't think there was a scene where she was barefoot. And that says a lot about her psychology to me. And, you know, it's almost like the one time she's not going barefoot, her mind gets boggled.
So
now
being barefoot.
I could really unpack all of that, but that'd probably take me a lot longer than we have time for. But it's just something that I wanted to throw out there to get people thinking a little bit, because especially of what she said, I think it was in the first episode, to the military dude who never smiles. Yeah. About the benefits of going barefoot. And she's always barefoot, regardless of what she's doing, you know. But in this episode, she wasn't just suited, she was booted. And
how many do you think that she walked barefoot? How often does she clean her feet? It's like, if she's barefoot, it's like, even in the future, they're still like, you know,
really pretty sterile.
It's like, come on,
by
now.
the 32nd century, they got little microfiber, little whatever, to keep the floor spotless at all times. I don't know.
But no, if you go back to what she said about going barefoot in the first episode and all the benefits of it, and how centered and logical almost, well, her own version of logic anyway, because she does have a very strange version of logic, but I love that about her because I have a very strange logic as well. But then we get this episode where all throughout she has actual footwear on, and it's almost like she can't think straight. She was so naive. She fell right into a trap so easily. And I mean, that says a hell of a lot to me about her whole self. It's almost like the footwear was restricting a part of her.
Like they just said too, you know, he knows how to take and just that, you know, just to know where to, like, he knows her secrets, knows what, you know, what have, you know, the things that, you know, set her off or whatever and stuff you want to say. And it's like, it doesn't go vice versa. Don't you know him as well? You know, because he knows how to play. I hate to say this, but he knows how to play you like a fiddle. You know, It's like, if you got to, sometimes you just got to get down in the muck with him. You know, you got to, if you're gonna if you're gonna,
Get down and dirty.
like, okay, let me give you a reference. Cisco, he, if y'all ever noticed throughout the entire Deep Space Nine series, he often quoted the rules of acquisition when he dealt with the Ferengis. You know, he had to kind of talk and be like a Ferengi when he dealt with, Ferengis like the Grand Egg Exec and Quark at times stuff and everything else, because when he quoted, rule of this, I was like, okay, so he's actually speaking their language. I mean, some way you got to understand your adversary. You don't have to be like them, but you understand, what they're, not their end game, because you can't understand some end game, but you can try to guess, you know, based on, your familiarity with them.
Mm.
That's just my take.
Oh no, I completely get where you're coming from with that.
Phil, what about yourself?
Sorry, I'm trying to close up something at the same time. God, I don't know what I can really add to all this. Hello. Yeah. As far as the episode overall, or what we're
Just overall.
Just yeah, like I said, as I said, I feel like it's I feel like it's almost
It happens, Dylan.
changed its footing slightly. It went to a much darker place. So I'm curious, and I'm actually curious to see if they're going to pick up on any of these little details next week. Like, is she going to be in shit for maybe messing this up? I wonder how they're going to follow this up next week, or if they're just going to jump into another episode and not address anything. So I'm hoping they do. I'm hoping it continues next week, that there are repercussions and things they need to, think about in this one. So I'm curious to see the next one. And yeah,
it's going to be kind of like a spring break type of episode for them. Say they're all going to do spring break things.
I'm surprised Katie didn't even admit. I was gonna say, I'm surprised Katie didn't even mention this. Did y'all see how much this affect Caleb? Like when he saw the Vulcan cadet
Bobby.
get shot. Yeah, Bobby gets shot and took one. Did y'all see? I don't know if y'all seen the blood splatter out his back and stuff, but like at the end where they were back on the Athena,
we lost Katie.
We did. We saw Caleb just sitting there. Everybody else was like standing like that, but it looked like he was. For him, it looked like, I don't know. It was like Nus Braka, I think, has something in mind for Caleb. Caleb is going to be a central part of the season finale. I really think something about Caleb is going to be the central part of everything.
Oh yeah.
My speculation when I said earlier, some weeks ago, is, to me, Nus Braka is the face of the big bad, but to me, the big bad is who he's actually working for would be actually Caleb's mother. And I suspect it could be, they didn't even mention his father. It could be even his father. I don't know, somebody. Yeah. But to me, it's like he's the ideal antagonist of the the series, of the the season and stuff. But I'm wondering if they're gonna, like, the writers like to throw in this, like we seen in this episode, they throw in this twist, and stuff. And I'm like, what would be really good twist and stuff and everything is Caleb's mom, because she's the one who's all behind it. So like just saving this thing, stuff like that, and making him, like, realize, either he comes with her, or he, stays with Starfleet, goes against his mom, or whatever, stuff like that. That's just my take. I don't know. I could be wrong, everybody, stuff like that, but that's just one of the little things that I see how, like, these types of things the writers like to do and stuff. It's like, yes, Paul Giamatti, Nus Braka, big bad right now and stuff and everything, but could he possibly be working for somebody who is more more tactician.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who spent. And didn't they say that his mom and him was in the same prison or something? They went to the same prison, or did they have they went to a
I'm not
different
sure.
prison?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember
I don't remember.
offhand.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully Katie's coming back. Hopefully she didn't lose power or something, because she's been gone for a minute
She just
now.
dropped. She just dropped off. I want to see what I want to hear her take. I was like, oh, because Caleb was just sitting there, just in, just I was like,
Shock.
now, Caleb, you spent how long you spent on the run, and you seen all kinds
15
of stuff.
years. Yeah.
He caused all he got himself in all kinds of things. But I'm like, to me, it would have been like, okay, somebody died, and somebody he wasn't too much of an adversary, but he's just like, you're just another a-hole, but
No, but
I'm glad Dylan made it.
I can't help but get past. I feel like for Paul Giamatti's character, does it Nus Braka?
yeah.
Nus Braka.
I can't feel like a little bit of shades of Harry Mudd, but just gone psycho. I don't know why. That was the first time he showed up. I can't help but feel maybe took a little inspiration from that character, just because he's very flamboyant. He's looks a little, mind you, he's more alien though. He has alien makeup. So, but I got I got shades of Harry Mudd coming through there. Just a lot more nasty.
I swear, is it me? Schaffer, they took a still image of him with his head like on his right side.
Mm-hmm.
I swear, I thought I saw a tic-tac-toe like on the side of his head. I don't know if it was me. Did anybody see? I don't know. Anybody go back and do it? Like a freeze frame. It looked like a tic-tac-toe, and it looked like it's
there's definitely a pattern I did not pick up on tic-tac-toe. I'll have to look again.
I swear, I thought it was like a tic-tac-toe. I was like, is that a tic-tac-toe?
Oh, I'm looking at it now. It looks. I'm looking at it now. I can see why, if he's moving or not holding still. Yeah, I can definitely see how you might think that. It looks like little patterns, like writing almost.
Okay. I swear it looked like tic-tac-toe. I was like, is this a tic-tac-toe pattern on his side of his head? It was one of the things where, blink of an eye and stuff and everything.
She's back. What happened?
I have no idea, but something went seriously wrong and the signal just cut out. I don't know if it was a glitch with my internet. I don't know if there was a partial power cut, but everything just went off.
With tits up? Woo.
Must have been a power.
But on my StreamYard's connection now, I don't have any of my co-hosting abilities or anything.
Oops.
And it's not in dark mode, so I don't know what the hell has gone on.
Was it the power in your whole flat, or just the computer?
Well, yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday we actually did have a power cut, and it encompassed our whole postcode or zip code, as you would you lot would say. But yeah, I don't know what went on, because my lamp's still on. If there was a power cut, it would have been my lamp, but
it could have been power surge, that different circuit.
Yeah,
so. But
I know that my PC didn't overheat, because it's not hot. It's warm. It's always warm when it's on, but it's not hot to the touch. And I've got my fans on, and I don't know what happened. But all of a sudden there was just no signal to my TV, and it just all went off.
Yeah, possible power surge.
Yeah, I had to pull the power cord out of the back of my PC to reboot it.
But you're back now. That's the important thing.
There you go.
I am. Although this is really horrible. I've got no co-hosting abilities. It's all white. I don't like it.
Yeah, so it's something wonky happened there.
Yeah,
but
something
we're
very,
but no,
very wonky.
but no, Katie. I was saying I was mentioning because I know you didn't mention this. I was waiting for you to mention this, but I was telling Dave and Phil how at the end where we saw Sam, she got hurt basically, photonic with him. She was like sitting there, help me, and Jaden was, and Kyle got hurt. Bobby, he got killed, he got shot. Um, but when they got back to the Athena, if you saw how Caleb was just sitting there, just in just disbelief, like stunned. I said to the guys when you was gone for the hot moment, I said, you would think that, and let's go back to what you were saying too. I guess I said this is what Katie would probably be saying. It's like the trauma or something like that. It's like he went 15 years on a run, and I'm like, he would have been used to that. I mean, how much did he see when he was on a run? But yet, this is like, I'm like, Caleb, that doesn't seem like you seem like you were you would be more.
Yeah,
I
but
wanna
just think
get
about
more.
what went on, love. Just think about what went on. He's now connected to a beta side. He
Oh,
feels
forgot
very
about that.
deeply for her, and she's currently in a coma. Someone who we didn't get along with, but meant a lot
Sacrifice
to
themselves.
her. Yeah, sacrificed himself for Caleb. So that because he jumped right in front of Caleb to take that shot.
And they hated each other. Well, they didn't
Yeah,
hate each
But
other, but they really didn't
it's
like each
like I
other.
said on the bridge when they were working together, they had a connection. They seemed to gain an understanding, and it that could have gone somewhere. Yes, I don't think they'd have ever have got on, but that they seem to have reached an understanding, and all of that, somebody basically took a bullet for him, and the woman he loves, who he's now connected to, more or less sacrificed herself for everyone, and he's not knowing how to deal with that, and so he's having his own internal crisis.
yeah, because
It
he was
happens.
he was been fended for himself all those years, and it's just like no one's probably ever sacrificed themselves for him. But
Exactly.
that kind of leads into something that Sean pointed out in his video that Bobby's blood was red, not green.
Yes. Yes.
But the Vulcan heart is not where the human heart is at. See, the Vulcan heart's down by the around where our liver is at.
Yeah, it's like there, isn't it?
Yeah, down much lower. And even McCoy has mentioned saying if his heart's where his liver's supposed to be, he would have been dead.
Was he fully Vulcan though?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
Yeah.
But even
And why didn't
Spock, even Spock being half Vulcan, his heart was down where the human liver is at. So
That's crazy.
so why didn't he bleed Goblin then?
just a editing error would be my guess. That's a
Yeah.
big editing error, but an
See,
editing
I
error
didn't
nonetheless.
notice that. I didn't
It
notice
happened
that.
so quick.
Yeah, I was more focusing on the Fury's heads going pooh, and all the pretty colors all over the bridge. I was more transfixed on that.
Yeah, when Tamiro, she went all Black Canary, as Sean said.
Or Black Canary.
Black
Yeah.
Canaries.
And yeah, I went straight to Banshee. But same difference in all honesty.
Oh yeah.
But no, all in all, I really did like this episode, even though I did find the Furies quite bland and boring.
Kind of interesting.
They worked really well for this episode, and it had a kind of like mild spookiness to it.
It was just nice to see something a bit different, though, a little bit different kind of an alien that we're not kind of not just
there's an eclipse
people
today?
with makeups and just
Yeah, there was a solar eclipse today.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Probably more in the northern hemisphere, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot going on cosmically at the minute. So yes, Dylan, I totally blame everything on the cosmos.
And I think actually it's not just you, the horse; it's the fire horse.
Yes, it is.
Well, let's let the Qs know to quit playing around with the universe. They have
Yes.
no
No,
respect.
you see, I think with me, with my technology, I think it's because I abandoned it for more or less like 2 weeks. And
forgot how to work.
I haven't whispered enough sweet nothings to it. So, my bad.
But yeah, they cap it off with Vance and Ake having their conversation, saying that there's like a half dozen Venari Rawl ships attacked J9 or J19 Alpha, and there's a Discovery name drop saying the ship is active out there, saying that it's collecting escape pods, and said it could take weeks before they can fully figure out what Braka and the others have stole from the base.
Mm-hmm. And they counting the bodies too, because they say it took 18 minutes before they was able to breach the station's shield and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a long battle.
No, but
yeah,
we'll probably learn the repercussions of this episode, not next week, but maybe the week after that, or episode 9, or or towards the end of episode 8, leading into episode 9. I think might be one of those cases, and since I'm not privy to all that information, that's just me spitball and see what happens. But maybe one of these days, Paramount will let me have like sneak peeks. I've learned how to keep my mouth shut when I need to. So Paramount, if you're watching this, say if you need me to beta test or kind of, I wouldn't object. I can keep my mouth shut when need be. I might kind of like. I can't say anything.
I do just want to put something out. And I know that before I had my little break, I went on a really big rant about this, but I just want to have a little rant about this now. So many people out there are hating on Starfleet Academy because of the content, and apparently it's juvenile. It's like Star Trek 90210. Now, I'm sorry, but as I said before, all this, what's happening in Starfleet Academy, has been in some way, shape, or form has been going on in every single series of Star Trek that there has been. I mean, Lower Decks is a perfect example. But people aren't bitching about all of that because, one, it's older adults that it's happening with, or two, it's an animated series like Lower Decks. But now that it's about young adults, everybody's bitching about it. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but there is no difference apart from age, and where all Starfleet officers start out. If all this was happening, but on the bridge of the Enterprise, or on Voyager, or even on DS9, I mean, DS9, I'm sorry, but such juvenile things happened on there. However, because it was fully fledged adults that it was happening with, it was okay. It was just a little bit of drama. But now it's young adults that are the center of attention in Star Trek. People are bitching about it and calling it juvenile. And I'm like, nah, I don't subscribe to that shit. I really don't. I'm seeing it for what it is. And the only difference in anything is age and location. And all Starfleet officers start out as students, and they all had their failings. They all, you know, I mean, it was even said in the episode where all the pranks were happening, where they took some of those pranks from. It was Nahla that did it all originally, and you know, I mean, she barely even sits in her chair like an adult, and you know, I love that about her. She is just so she's like what century is it?
32nd.
She's like a 32nd century hippie, and I love her. You know, and she injects a bit of, even though she's like the oldest one on the show, you know, because she's like a couple of 100 years old because of her Lambonite heritage. But, you know, she injects a little bit of youth into the adults, basically. And she has that age and wisdom, but she can also be on the level of the cadets as well, and that is a very great skill to have. And I don't understand the hate that Starfleet Academy is getting, because at the end of the day, every single series of Star Trek has evolved from its predecessor. And new races, new technology, new sets of circumstances, or similar ones to previous series have happened. There's been drama, there's been love, there's been war, there's been death, there's been friendships, you know, there's been these real life incidents. But in like a futuristic sci-fi way. And yet all of a sudden, Star Trek has switched focus. Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you, Dylan. But all of a sudden it switched focus to where everybody starts out in the Star Trek universe. And, you know,
let me ask this question for you, Katie, because I know you're saying, I've seen, because there are people who are my age and stuff and everything else. This show is target demographic is for the young, not for people like me. True or not?
No, that is not true at all.
Why should somebody like me have this targeted towards me? I'm a Star Trek fan, but I'm from a TOS, TNG, DS9, and stuff like that. Why should I like this show? I mean, what makes this show why this show should have any, you know, for people in the demographic and stuff? Because I seen what you're saying with people, and that's how some people are my age and are saying, it's like, this is not for me. This is not what I grew up with. It's for people who were born from the year 2000 and up, from the last 20 years and stuff. Young people will get it, but us older people, in a sense, people who grew up on the original stuff and everything else,
how old are you?
We don't see ourselves in nothing like this. Nothing like this. Nothing brings our fancy to, you know, stuff like that.
How old are you, Travis?
I'm almost 50. I'm 47.
Right.
47, be 50 in a few years and stuff.
Right. Well, in a couple of months, I'm 39. So I'm not far off your age in the grand scheme of things. There's not all that many years between us. I hated Star Trek up until I was a teenager. And when I was a teenager, actually, I'm not just going to talk about myself right now. I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about you. And I'm going to talk about everyone who's watching. The majority of Star Trek fans started watching it when they were kids. And they grew up with Dickhead Kirk. And, you know, somehow they loved it. And yet, it was children watching an adult show. And yet it was more popular with kids than it was adults. How is it that a show directed at adults could grip so many children? Because children naturally have a more open mind than an adult. You like Lower Decks. Lower Decks is animated. So many adults like Prodigy, even though that was more directed towards younger viewers and kids. And yet, I mean, Travis has openly admitted it. He absolutely loves Prodigy. Dave loves Prodigy.
I've never seen Prodigy. Yeah. I've never seen Prodigy.
Watch it. You know, on your head be it, but watch it. But you know,
that's a person that hasn't seen season 2.
That was. I tried. I really did. I really tried. I just couldn't. It was. But yeah. But you know, that was directed primarily for children. It was on Nickelodeon, for crying out loud, wasn't it?
Yes.
About channels.
Yeah, it was on Nickelodeon, so it was directed towards children, yet so many adults love it. Don't ask me why, I don't understand, but so many adults love it. And yet, Starfleet Academy is something new. It integrates tradition, evolution, young and old. It encompasses everything that Starfleet is about. And it's taking us right back to where all the greats began. And yet, people aren't seeing it for what it is. A lot of people, and I've been following a lot on social media, directed towards Starfleet Academy, and I have had to really bite my tongue. But a lot of people aren't seeing it for what it is. It's taken us back to the bare bones of what Starfleet is. And all of Starfleet's core values are still there. What made people love Star Trek, the values, the messages, the real life within a futuristic sci-fi universe, all of that is still there. If anything, it's more so there because these cadets are having it drilled into them what Starfleet is all about. And yet so many people, yes, exactly, Dylan. But so many people are just focusing on the fact that it's young adults or like older teenagers. And that's what people are focusing on. And they're focusing on like, ooh, raging hormones and love and ooh. But all of this has been happening in Star Trek all these years, all these 60 years, but with older adults. And that's okay because it's adults. When it's happening with younger people, oh no, it's juvenile and childish and it's 90210 Star Trek style. That's what people are seeing because that's all they're willing to see. They're not willing to see it for what it is. Like this episode, it is such a dark episode. That is not directed at children. That is more directed at the older generation than the younger generation because of the depth of it, the deep, dark, nitty-gritty. And if people were just to take a step back, you know, like Nahla did in this episode, if people were just to take their shoes off, take a step back, and just really think about what's been going on, not the ages of the students or anything, but real life incidents about what's been going on underneath the futuristic sci-fi fiction. It is Star Trek. It's just a different location, a different set of circumstances. And if people start seeing it for what it is, rather than surface, because I hate it when people do this, they will see what's on the surface and they don't see the deeper side of it. Whereas I do, that's the only side of it I see. I don't see the surface. That's one of the reasons I miss a lot, because I can't just see something on the surface. I go deep into it. So I can see it for what it truly is. And it is Star Trek. something for people to think about anyway.
Well, thanks for that, Katie.
I'd like to interject a tiny little thought on that too, while you were
Oh, yeah.
talking about that, just really quick. I think Star Trek has like a lot of different series. I do think maybe it is getting a little bit of unfair heat. It's gotten a really bad rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think it is a little bit unfair. I think we have to accept that every series is not going to click with everybody. I think sometimes some will just click more than others. I still like the original series, but that's not going to. I mean,
I still love you.
I still see things in that other people might not. I wasn't big on Enterprise. Enterprise did not click with me. I like some of the characters, but it just as a series, it didn't. I also wasn't as big on Discovery. But I mean, it's not to say whether they were bad or they were good episodes. They probably really were good shows. Just for whatever reason, I think certain series are going to click more with other people. Next Generation was a really well-written show, and that clicked a whole new generation of people to get into, to come back into Star Trek again. And so that's kind of, I think, where a lot of us come back together was for that one. So that had a huge impact on a lot of people. But it really did. Lightning's not going to keep striking the same every time, right? But far be it for me to take anything away from somebody. I'm not going to say that show's shit. Why do you like? I would never do that. By all means, if you are loving a show and you're taking something away from it, I then enjoy it to its fullest and talk about it and find other people to, because sure, there's going to be lots of other people who feel the same way and are enjoying it just as much. But
like you said, Phil, the Star Trek fans have this like, what is the better series?
Mm-hmm.
There's a continuous debate about what is the better series versus, like you said, Enterprise is on the lower one, but like, there's fan debate for the last, I guess, 25 years.
Oh yeah. I grew up watching Godzilla movies, right? I was a big kaiju fan growing up, and there's still huge fandom on that. And I know people who love Mothra, and there's a whole group of people out there who are like, "What's wrong with you? That's the dumbest monster." I'm like, it's there, it exists, it happened. Like, and some people really like. You're going to take that away from them? It's like any other fandom, right? There's huge debates on that too, which is silly, but. Yeah,
the fandom is the fandom. It is the fandom and stuff, and everybody has their, because some people like their favorite captains. People have debated their favorite captain, like who is a superior captain?
Yeah,
Picard, Cisco, this, that, and everything else. It's like it's like there's debate on your what you see about the characters that you grew up with and stuff and everything else. It's like you want to stack them against this individual and stuff and everything, and this is why this character is more superior to that character and everything. It's like there don't have to be a competition. Can everything just be a little separate and have an equal type thing without having this what is the better, I mean, that's like, okay, let me give you an example. Phil, I guess you probably remember this day here in the US, there was the cola wars, I should say, the soda wars. Right. In the 80s, Pepsi declared themselves finally the winner of the soda wars.
Because, I remember all that. Yeah,
because Coke changed their.
You got all your American television in the 80s, so yeah.
They changed. They took away the old Coke. Yeah. And fans was like, "Okay, y'all took away the old Coke, and the new Coke sucks and stuff and everything else." Yeah. And Pepsi declared, we are the better choices of. But then when they bought it back, people started flocking back, and they was like, "Oh no, Coke is the better flavor. What is Coke? Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi's best."
Is that?
Sorry, but I'm a big Pepsi Max drinker.
Coca-Cola drinker. I'm from I'm from Kentucky, but I mean, they say it's the South. Well, the Southern, the Mason-Dixon line, the Southern Mason-Dixon line and stuff. And
it was always a. always been a Diet Pepsi
Oh,
person.
can I just...
I drink whatever's on sale.
Yes.
Whatever had the better deal, which is typically a Pepsi product
Yeah.
over a Coke product, but
Do you know one thing that is a very big contradiction with Star Trek fans?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily contradiction, hypocritical is the better word. For years, all I've like since I got into Trek, and especially since, you know, getting deeper into it with like technically Trek and everything, and obviously Rain Man down there. But you know, all Trek fans, the one big thing that I've heard over the years is we want something new, we want something fresh.
Mm-hmm.
We want something unique to evolve Star Trek. As soon as Star Trek gives them something new, they're like, oh no, I don't like this. It's this, it's that. And it's like, whoa, hold on a minute. You're wanting Trek to evolve, and yet you're not willing to allow your mind to evolve because you're still stuck in the past, and yet you're saying that Trek needs to be brought more into the future. And now I'm seeing a little bit of imbalance there, people. And I mean, I'm not naming names, trust. I'm not naming names, but you are a perfect example, Travis. You know, you are very much a traditionalist when it comes to Trek. And I will respond to that in a minute, Dylan. But, you know, you are very much a traditionalist. And you're basically set in your ways. And to some degree, that stops your mind from opening so far to new evolved versions. And a lot of Star Trek fans who go back to TOS, you know, they are so stuck on that they can't appreciate how Star Trek has evolved over the years beyond a certain point. Now, I may hate TOS with a passion. It made me hate Star Trek for, well, up until I was like 13. And then I discovered First Contact, and that was me a Trekkie, you know. But I still can't stand TOS. And yet, I can appreciate it for what it is, what it set off, what it started. The barriers that were broken down from that very first pilot episode, you know, even the cage. But, you know, it broadened so many people's horizons. You know, it opened a lot of people's minds to possibilities, to the evolution of technology, the evolution of the human race and discovery. And yet, they'll only allow that open-mindedness to this degree, because if they open the doors to their mind fully, they believe that they are betraying Star Trek's origins in a way, when in effect, if you're not willing to open your mind to the evolution of Trek, it's quite the opposite. You know, if you're not willing to evolve with the evolution of Trek, that's when you're betraying TOS. Because from TOS, it teaches us to open our minds, to be accepting, to look at things from new angles, to see things deeper. And yet, Trek fans are completely dismissing that by saying, "Oh no, this is too much. This is this and this is that." And I'm just so confused as to how Trek fans can live with themselves. so to speak, because they're betraying the fundamental beliefs of Starfleet. And infinite diversity and infinite combinations. You know, I mean, the Vulcans do that all the time when they disrespect Spock, because Spock is the epitome of that philosophy. And the amount of times I hear Trek fans repeat that philosophy, and yet they're not willing to follow it. I'm like, yeah, don't preach what you don't practice. Whereas me, I'm open to everything. I even put myself through watching The Cage for a Twitter space, you know, and I was like, ugh. You know, that's like an hour of my life I can't get back, and I wish I could. But you know, I was open enough to watch it, and the premise was good. It was just the way it was executed, in my opinion. But I still have a lot of respect for TOS, even though I don't like it, and I can appreciate the premise of it, even if it was badly done in a lot of places, and you know, William Shatner spoiled it. But, you know,
Well, gotta remember,
Let's go
Cage
touch it.
Shatner was not in the Cage, so I gotta remember
He
that.
was not in a cage.
Yeah,
Nope.
he wasn't, and that was a beautiful thing. That was like the best thing about The Cage. But you know, I'm open-minded enough to appreciate TOS, even though I can't stand it. And yet, so many traditionalists aren't open-minded enough to appreciate the newer stuff and the evolution of Trek, the evolution of Starfleet. And it confuses me very, very much.
Well, I mean, there's people have used the word, and I know this is the thing that, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it. But there are people that I've seen it across social media who said it, you know, used the woke terms about the new series and stuff. And that's a really big trope with a lot of people who are, you know, who have some conservative core values to them and stuff and everything else. And they grew up like you said, myself, they're, you know, traditionalists and stuff and everything else. But yet some people, I have seen some people have mentioned too, you know, that, you know, new writers, they don't know if the writers in Hollywood, what their intake is on, you know, how to keep the franchise alive. You know, what would Gene Roddenberry, what would he take on all of this new stuff? And it's like, you know, would he be saddened to see it went in a direction that it went in the last 20 years, or would he appreciate, you know, something that, you know, he dreamt of that came to fruition, and he was part of up until what, the year 1991? He passed away, was it 91 or 92?
91, yeah, because he had season 5, which is right before Unifications when he passed away.
Yeah, and it's
October
and Gene,
13th, 1991, if I'm not
October
mistaken.
13th.
I think that Gene Roddenberry would be very proud.
See, I can't answer that question for him because, you know, I mean,
I think he would be because of what he wanted Trek to be, and it hasn't come up on the thingy on StreamYard, but I've just put a comment on YouTube in the live chat, and Star Trek has always been woke. It has, right from the off, because, you know, having a Russian, a Japanese man, someone of mixed heritage, and a woman of color as senior officers on the bridge of the flagship.
Yeah.
That was woke. There just wasn't a word for it back then. You know, that was probably the most woke thing and the most controversial thing that could have ever have been done. But it worked. And then when Worf was on the bridge of the Enterprise, oh, holy hell, everybody kicked off about having a Klingon on the bridge.
Hmm.
Especially, and as well, the fact that he was a man of color. Well, he is a man of color, my apologies. You know, and it's all of these things have been bitched about over the years, and Worf now, he is one of the most beloved characters in all of Trek. And yet they were planning on killing him off because of the hate about having a Klingon on the bridge of the flagship. But then because Denise Crosby wanted to leave because there was going to be no evolution for Tasha, they killed her off instead. And Worf basically took her slot as chief of security. You know, he got promoted into a position. And he eventually became, he has become the most beloved character because people were just like, right, he's not going anywhere, we'll give him a chance. And they found that they loved him. But when it comes to New Trek, a lot of people aren't willing to do that because they only see the surface. They can't see, you know. And all of what Trek has done since Gene Roddenberry passed away, bless him, I think he would be proud because it has carried on his vision, equality, diversity, opening people's minds, still keeping in like real life into it. The messages that each episode carries, that's what he wanted. And that is what is being done. So I think that he will be looking down from his cloud and being like, yes, you know, and he'll be Gibbs smacking everyone on the back of the head, like, you know, wake up.
Well, I mean, I don't know, like,
don't you get nostalgic?
There were a lot of potentials that I remember. Lou, he was on before we started the Starfleet Academy. He was on. He mentioned after Enterprise, there was a world of opportunity for them to do more some stuff that they didn't. That people felt like myself, we didn't feel like that. You know, that could have been done. Stuff that could have been told in the world Star Trek, because at that time in the early 2000s and going into the mid 2000s, I should say, some said Star Trek was a dying franchise, and some said because Enterprise didn't even last but 4 seasons that people tried to get it for a 5th season. You know, they was hoping it would be a 7-season run just like its predecessors and stuff, but it only got 4 seasons and stuff. You know, there was like a lot of potentials that they could have done, that Paramount could have done and stuff. And a lot of people, I seen it's not like said, but somebody did point it out that, you know, some of us felt a little robbed. They given us this new Trek has, you know, we felt robbed of stuff that could have been 20 years ago, and now they bringing all this stuff and everything else, and it's just like, you know, I'm 20 years older than, you know, stuff, and this is not my demographic, or did they writing this into something that, you know, I don't even understand. You know, there are a lot of people who don't understand the writing of the episode of different episodes of stuff. Is Katie talking?
How can you not understand?
Oh, that's there's a lot of people who feel like different episodes are, it's not clicking with them. I've seen some people mention, like, you know, they just don't understand certain episodes.
Did you go to school?
Did I go to school? Yes.
Yeah. Did you go to college?
Yeah, for a few years.
Right. So, because you've experienced school and college, you should be able to empathize with the students at Starfleet Academy. And, you know, I mean, me, when I watch it and some of the problems that they go through, I'm just like, oh, holy shit, yeah, I remember when I was at school and college and these problems arose, you know. And I'm just like, I'm cheering them on. And I'm just like, you have got this, you know. Panic attack aside, you have got this, you know. Tricky situation, you've got this. And I'm just like, I'm watching it and I'm just like, I've been where you, not obviously in the same circumstances, you know, but I've been where you are. I've been a student. I have been at the bottom and worked my way up. Even in jobs, you know, when I worked, I started from the bottom and worked my way up. And so I can empathize with them for what they're going through. And because I've been there and done that, and it's, in a way, it's quite nostalgic for me, sometimes in very bad ways, sometimes in very good ways and funny ways. And like the prank episode, I love that episode. I thought it was so fun. But me personally, I've never pulled a prank on anyone, ever. But there was pranks galore going on at school and college. And I would sit back and I would watch and I was just like, that is so fun. But me personally, I could never do it because I couldn't lie to get out of it. So I just never got involved. But I always egged them on. And I fully supported, you know, TPing the science lab and all that jazz. And, you know, I was like a very big cheerleader for it all. But, you know, so I can, like, as I'm watching them learn and get things wrong and have to do it again, I'm remembering my childhood, my teenage years, although very different, but it's nostalgic for me, and I fully support them. And you know, if you've been there and done that, you should be able to understand what they're going through. And have that empathy, like what Nahla was saying, empathy. You know, she was going on about it because of that bloody plant, you know, empathy. And yeah, empathy is a very big thing with me with Starfleet Academy because, you know, I've been that age. And some of it was good, some of it was bad. And I'm right there with them. And I fully support them. Yeah, sometimes I want to slap them upside the head and just be like, oh, for fuck's sake, you know. But yeah, and I think that if people were to, you know, just think back to their like end of high school years and college years, and just have a bit of understanding for what these cadets are going through, and you know, empathize with them, then they might gain a better understanding of what Starfleet Academy is all about.
There is some, like Phil said, that there is some I don't hate the show, but there are some serious people out there who are Star Trek fans who are generally dislike the show, and they really pick it apart, like Phil mentioned. I mean, it's no reason to, you know, diss on it. Be like, okay, it's not for me, for somebody else. So what? I'm a Star Trek fan, but you know, to each his own and stuff and everything else, you know. But like, I mean,
You
there's a
understand
serious
where I'm
people
coming
who,
from, can't you?
huh?
But can you understand where I'm coming from?
I mean, I'm not picking it apart, nothing like that. I just feel like it's not a demographic. This, you know, I can't. I don't know if I'm the demographic that, you know, is shooting for. I mean, it feels like, you know, I mean, yes, I mean, we was once, yes, their age, young teenagers and stuff and everything else, but like, you know, I'm you know, not far off from 50 years old, and it's like, how can I identify with a person who is just now coming to, you know, point where they're like in college and stuff? I've been there and done it, but like, you know, I crossed that threshold and I'm not looking back to cross the threshold.
Oh, no, it's not about looking back to cross the threshold again. It's about you've been there and done that. And, you know, I've been there and done that. Phil's been there and done that. Dave's been there and done that. And because I've been there and done that, I can understand what they're going through. Yeah, the younger generation who are watching it, who are going through what they're going through, can understand even more in a way, because they're going through it almost with them. You know, like they're having this journey of learning together. But what is life but learning? You know, we learn every single day about the world around us, about even things that we're like really passionate about. We learn something new, and we also learn about ourselves every day as well. Life is a journey of learning, and for me, that's what Starfleet Academy portrays. Because even the adults who are teaching, they're learning, because they're learning how to communicate with the younger generation. That they're having to relearn a lot of things and delve into parts of themselves that maybe they haven't had to delve into for a while. And you know, I mean, maybe I can see it more and connect more with it, because I mean, I've got friends of all ages, and like my niece has just turned 18, and I'm around kids of all ages, and you know, young adults and people who are a lot older than me, some people who are my own age, and I don't know if that's why I can still connect so well with it, but I think it's a beautiful thing what Starfleet Academy is, because it's reminding us that everybody's learning every day, not just the young uns.
Oh wow, it's been a hot minute. It's been well over what, 2 hours and 26 minutes.
Yeah, and I bet you're wishing I didn't come back now after all this ranting.
Yeah.
I bet you're all just like, Katie, go on vacation again. One day you will tell the story of how you overcame what you went through, and it will be someone else's survival guide. Yeah.
See, I got that on my wall.
Yeah, and you know, that is very apt for what Starfleet Academy is. And every day, you know, because yeah, we've all had experiences, we've all been through stuff, and you know, if we can pass that on to somebody else and help them, then yeah, it could very well become their survival guide. So yes, I am very with you on that, Dave.
And I'm thinking that's kind of like what I want to kind of maybe start closing out these episodes from here on out, especially now with episode 100 just right around the corner. Is there any closing thoughts of what happened in the episode, or do we think we pretty much hit it all on the head as we can hit it on the head?
When you're dealing with a dickhead, don't put your shoes on.
Good advice. So I'm cleaning up the graphics for the teasers for next week. I'm gonna test this out and see how this looks on YouTube maybe tonight, just to take a look and see how it is. But episode 100. I say Kozini. I have no idea how that's pronounced. That sounds Klingon, so
yeah,
we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, so that it's spring break, as I mentioned earlier, so people are going to do their own thing. Small spoiler if you want to la that now, Katie, but it's Caleb's still on restriction, so it might be from earlier episode. I don't know if something that happened in recently that extended his restrictions on campus, because I can't remember the time frame that was given to him on that second episode.
90
Does
days,
anyone
wasn't it?
or something like that? Yeah. But yeah, so you have to watch the old episodes again. Have to look at my notes if I can read my chicken scratchings for notes. But is I may have lost.
Travis, I just sent you an image. I meant to send it a little bit earlier when you were asking about Nas, the thing on the side of his head that looked like a tic-tac-toe symbol.
Just seen it come. Okay, I've just seen it come through. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I got you. I got you. I see what you're saying now. I swear.
Supposed to be a
I
language.
glanced at it and I thought it looked like a tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, I can see how you'd see that. Yeah, if it's moving really quick and then on the TV, yeah, I can see how that would look like that.
Yeah, and the actor that plays Caleb, he actually had to lose some weight apparently because he was too buff for the character, so he had to actually trim down. But yeah, he's got a nice chest.
Real quick, Dave, you said, did we have any final thoughts and everything else? The one thing I always I say, and I mean, as I have, like, the Ferengi rule of acquisition. Remember what the 190th rule of acquisition states?
I don't, but you know.
Hear all, trust nothing.
There you go. But yeah, I just like to close out just that there people do struggle. Say me 641 days in my sobriety, or 641, and saying just that much closer to that 2-year mark, as I've mentioned at the top of the show. People struggle. People start thinking things that take them down a rabbit hole that it's hard for them to dig out of. Just remember, there is hope. There is help. There are individuals that are out there to help you wade through the darkness. So here in America, at least, you can call 988 for help in that regard, or you can text TALK, TALK, to 741-741. I'm sure that is there kind of like a suicide prevention hotline there in England. Katie, do you know offhand, or not to put you on the spot or anything? Because I think 988 works in Canada too, right, Phil?
I believe they did. Yeah, there was something on that just recently, actually. So yes, I believe you're right.
I know that. I know that there is a number 111, and that is the general NHS inquiries line. But each jurisdiction does have what we know, what we call the crisis team, and each city does have their own number. But if there is a generalized one, I will look for it for next week's show.
Next week. All right, cool. So then I'm going to look on that verbiage and whatnot, saying some of it was lifted off of Dustin Perry from Ghost Hunters. He always ends his whenever he goes to bed, he always tweets that every night, which I think is awesome. I commend him for that if he's ever watching, which he's probably not, but you never know.
But no, for people in the UK, if you do need help, just dial 111, and if they're unable to help you there and then, they will be able to signpost you. I will, in the next week, try and find a more generalized number for the crisis team. That is like UK wide for people to contact. If not, then it will just be a case of 111, or to go online and have a look for the local number.
Cool. Well, thank you, Katie, and thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Until next week, may Spock be with you.
Night.
Alien frequencies are now closed.
Doodle.